Hailey, I appreciate you being on the podcast today. Really excited to chat. For those that don't know, so Hailey is a coach and also has a good following on Instagram. She posts a lot of fitness stuff and funny things, is what I've realized. And she trains at my gym, SoCal Powerlifting, as well. She prepped there for her first meet and has stuck around, so we did something right. Yeah, well, thanks for being on. I'm excited to hear more about your story, Hailey.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, good. So, yeah, I figure we can just start, with the hardest questions now. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, I think
yeah. Let's just start real quick. How did you get into training, fitness? Let's just start. How'd you get into fitness? We'll go there.
So I was always a ballet dancer growing up, competitive dancer, soccer player. So growing up, I was really fit, but then I got pregnant with my son and kind of stopped doing everything.
Okay.
I ended up gaining like 60 pounds.
Wow.
And I kept that on after I had him for a few years, never worked out, never did anything. So I got into the gym through my brother. He was training with a friend that was doing strength training. So that was like my first introduction ever into the gym, was squat, bench, and deadlift.
Okay.
And I just kind of fell in love with it, that kind of training. And then I started my fitness journey there, lost like 55 pounds, I think, through strength training, a little bit of cardio, but I just fell in love with lifting.
Yeah. And how old were you when you had your son?
I was 23 when I had him.
Okay. And what was that? I mean, let's talk about that. Like, so what was that like in terms of?
That was so scary. I had never held a baby before in my life, so it was obviously unplanned. And I was just like not ready to have a kid. I was so scared. But once I had him, changed my life completely. Like it's insane. But I was so nervous. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, what do I do with a baby?
Yeah. It's so funny. I think years ago I asked my mom, I was like, how do babies survive? Because it's so delicate. You drop it. Oh no.
Yeah. And you're pretty much just winging it. Like as a new parent, you don't have, unless you've like babysat hundreds of kids, you have a lot of experience. Like you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. 100%. And so you were obviously fit before you had your son, and then you got into it. What were you doing for work at the time?
I was a hairstystist.
Okay.
So I went to school to be a hairstylist right out of high school. So when I was 18, and I still do it on the side, but that was my profession. So I was working in a salon when he was a baby. I would just go in because I was always a single mom. So I'd go in on Sundays and Mondays when my dad could watch him and work then. And so, it was rough back then when he was little to get work in. Yeah.
And so what are we looking at? Is this about 10 years ago or so?
So I'll be 33 next month. So when I had him. Yeah.
So when did you look at fitness as being a potential career for you?
So I started coaching HIIT classes for LA Fitness, and I was lifting, but I wanted to lean out a little, so I started taking those classes. I was like, they asked me if I wanted to coach it because I was a dance coach and stuff. I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So I got my certification, started doing that, and I was like, I don't really like this. I don't like teaching classes, and it's not the kind of fitness that I'm passionate about. So when COVID hit, I was still doing that, and then gyms closed down, and I was doing a strength training program for a girl I used to work for. I did her program for like a year and a half, and she posted that she was hiring trainers, a trainer. And so I messaged her. I was like, are you interested in anyone? I know I don't live in Florida, but I'd love to work remote for you. And so she flew me out and we met, and then I got that job. And ever since, it's been like my main thing. It's been a huge passion for me.
What was that like? So you just shot your shot on IG?
I just shot my shot. I was like, there's no way. I just like coach HIIT classes. Like I'm still like new in this, but I know a lot about fitness. I've done a lot of certifications and stuff, but I was so nervous. But it worked out. And just like from then, just everything took off. She was like, I want you to start acting more like a personal trainer online. And so I started posting like form posts to help people. Cause going back to my dance, I taught a lot of kids how to dance. So I love teaching. So I started doing form posts, and that like really blew up. So it just has been like a fun ride ever since.
Yes.
And I've done a lot more certifications ever since that. So have a lot more experience now, but it was crazy.
Educational stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were taking that, did it feel like risky at all to you going to work for someone online, like jumping ship? Talk me through that.
100%. It did. And I felt like I don't know enough to be doing this, like
imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, 100%. And then my Instagram started growing. I'm like, what's going on? So I just started like trying to learn as much as I can, teach in person too, coach clients in person, because I feel like I've learned a lot from doing that. You get a lot of experience on both sides. Yeah.
What did, I guess, so like from a financial standpoint, like, did you feel like, was it successful? Like, and when, did you feel like you were making enough money working for someone else in the industry? How does that work? Talk me through that.
No, I did not. Like, it was a good introduction for me. And then about a year of coaching for that platform, I started selling my own 6-week programs. Mm-hmm. And then I started my one-on-one online coaching. And I was allowed to do that because it was a different kind of programming.
Got you.
I started one-on-one, and that was more group programming. So that started to bring more income in for me. But then as the years went on, I'm a single mom. I need to support my kid. I love programming, and that's a part that I didn't really get to do with the last program. So, and I had a lot of people ask me when I was starting my own monthly thing. So I kind of broke off to do my own thing. And I'm glad business-wise that I did that, and financially for my son, and just have my own thing. I can be my own boss now 100%.
Yeah. So I think there's something called the E-myth, and it's this idea that, let's say, for example, you have a plumber working for a plumbing company and he's doing all the jobs. And he's like, I make 30 cents on the dollar. I can totally do this myself. And there's some people out there that can totally do it themselves, but you have to be an entrepreneur. I mean, so once you leave your organization, the safety of your organization, you have to go out, and now you're marketing, your sales, your coaching, you're all of it, right? And not everyone's cut out for that. So I always tell people, if you own a coaching company, that your job is to deliver the most value to your coaches on your staff so that they don't have to wear all the hats. They can just coach and do what they love to do. Now, if you don't do that and you're expecting your coach to act like an entrepreneur, create all their own content, do all that work, then they're just being an entrepreneur. They're running their own thing anyway. And it sounds 100%. Like maybe that was
and then you're like, wait, I can just do this myself anyway. Because you're running your own business and working for someone else. So it definitely is a huge risk, and it's been a slow build, but it's something that, and I have no business experience. So it's just been me learning, picking people's brains in the industry. So it was a huge risk, like not having income, like that was for sure. I have to market myself. I have to do all this, but I know in the long run it's going to be good. And it's already 100%. Been more successful now than I was working for someone else.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's the thing, is some people jump ship. Not a lot of people actually are successful because, again, they run into, like, how do I build this thing? But if you figure it out, like, it can be really, really, really solid. So that's awesome. But I find like with online coaching companies, there's a ton of coach turnover because a coach just does everything themselves anyway, and they're like, why am I doing this?
Why am I working for someone?
When did you start picking up traction on Instagram?
I'd say probably like 3 years ago, once I started working for the program I was working for, I started making form posts a lot, and that started picking up. And I started growing pretty significantly within that first year. But just I took it on as like a full-time job to create content. And at first it wasn't very rewarding because not that many people were seeing it, but I started seeing how helpful it was, and my Instagram started growing. So that's been a huge tool for me for growth in my business. I try to help people as much as I can. I find that they want, like, a lot of new people in the gym have no idea what to do. So I kind of like to have like a safe space for new people to join and learn. But the first year it started picking up. It was a little slow in the beginning, but just consistency.
with content, how calculated like were you in the beginning versus now? Like, was it really structured? You had a plan in place. Talk me through a little bit about that.
No, never, to be honest.
Okay.
I never had a specific plan. I knew what I wanted to do with my page. I never wanted to just like post pictures of myself and make it all about myself. I wanted, like, being overweight for so long, and then I started fitness. All I saw when I would pull up Instagram was these girls with six packs. They were all like fitness models. So I never really saw people who looked like me. So I wanted to make it, like I said, a safe space for people just starting, seeing a real person. Like, I didn't work for Gymshark or like any of that, because that's all I saw in the beginning. So yeah, I wanted to do something like that. I got a lot of inspiration just because I did form checks for that program I work for every night. It was just watching people's form constantly. I did like 2 to 3 hours every night of form checks. So those gave me ideas when I would see like the same thing repetitively that people were struggling with. And by texting or typing out like what for them to fix and they didn't get it. A lot of people are visual learners. So I was like, let me make pictures and slides for them to see. So yeah, and now it's kind of just like whatever pops in my head, I make it. I'm not like a huge planner. So sometimes I have like a bunch of notes in my phone. Something pops in my head, I'll write it down to film later on. But a lot of the stuff I'm just like get inspiration. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that, and just
does it ever feel, does it get overwhelming? I mean,
100%, yeah. So it does, because in the beginning I was posting like, I think 7 days a week, 5 to 7 days a week. And that content back then, I was making like the swipe posts with words and all that. And it took a long time to edit. And so I got to the point where I was like, this is a lot of work for me to make this stuff and plan it out and like edit everything. So yeah, it was really overwhelming. Now I try to keep it more simple. I've learned a lot in my coaching experience since the beginning too. Like, people don't need a million words to learn things. It's easier for them to process things when it's quicker anyway. So
yeah. Well, and also like video is like how people are consuming content now. Like videos, everything.
And like short video.
Yeah, like that's one of the things. Like I was doing a shit ton of posting and videos and stuff on like gym growth tactics page, and then I just like burnt out. Like I was like, and I'm super ADHD, so like when I tunnel vision, I go hard, and then I just kind of like get over it and move on to the next thing. And so I'm really trying not to do that anymore. But I was trying to reuse as much content as possible, because if you make a video, like you could also make a swipe post. Like if you make a swipe post, like you turn that into a blog. Like there's ways to expand and like reuse something, let's say 6 times or something. Yeah. But it can be daunting, I think, to like come up with ideas. I mean, it's one of the things we're even working on, like with SoCal. Like our content, I think, has been pretty good.
Yeah, I love your guys' content.
Good.
It always makes me laugh, and you have a lot of educational stuff. Yeah. So good mixture.
Yeah, which is important, because you want like the funny stuff to maybe go viral and maybe it gets more engagement, and then the educational stuff is kind of like, okay, hey, we know what we're talking about too. Yeah, and maybe 100%. Less virality, but it still gets in front of people and shows that we know what we're doing. That's why I think the planning. So okay, so now if you were to talk to someone who is trying to get into fitness, online coach, and they want to grow their following, like, what would you tell them to do in this current climate with social media?
I would tell them consistency. Pick a number of posts that you can commit to and stay consistent per week. You don't have to post at the same time. I don't really think any of that really matters, but just consistency, showing up, showing a side of your personality. Because if you want to teach people, that's great, but people like to also connect, see your face, talk to the camera. Pick a niche that you want to stick to and keep your page pretty much to that niche. So like, don't be posting like family pictures and then fitness and then fashion stuff, hair. Like in the beginning, you need to keep it all like pretty niche down. And then so I've found that like people have a hard time converting to actual followers unless they click on your page after they see the initial video that they found you. They might like that one, but then they click on your page and they don't see anything else like that. So they're like, I'm not going to follow that person. So kind of try to keep to a theme. Yeah, just staying consistent. I don't think like hashtags or any of that.
Yeah.
Or even really trending audio. I've found just like using my own audio usually.
Yeah.
And it's
You had
so
one
many-
audio you made, I think, that went like super viral.
Yeah, I've had a few. I did one
Yeah.
on like a transformation.
Yeah,
and
I think I saw that one.
recently of just like me squatting over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing people use that. I'm like, hey, that's my name.
Yeah.
I just found it on TikTok. I find scrolling through TikTok has trends before they make Instagram.
Yes.
So I find all my inspiration on TikTok. I love scrolling through TikTok anyways. Really relatable content is going to be the content that people share, that people save. That's going to get your views up.
Yeah.
So like if you're looking to grow your Instagram, I would probably even just post relatable content for a while. Things that like people see and they're like, oh my God, that's so funny. That's so me. And they share it with their friends, all that. And then start posting stuff with value to keep your followers. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a certain...
There's no secret.
formula.
I mean, there's no... Yeah, there is no
it's
secret
just like
sauce.
stick to yourself. Do what you think is funny. I get so many haters on everything I post now. But if you stay true to yourself and like you like what you're posting, just stick to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I want to talk about too, because like you get a lot of haters. I don't know if it's arching the bench press or like whatever,
on
like
everything.
Or people think you're using fake weights on like hip thrusts and things like that.
Yeah, they hate me on the hip thrusts. But even
did that used to affect you at all? I mean,
Yeah, 100%. And it still does. I get a lot of comments like on my body image. And I'm like, they're like, her diet must be horrible because she looks like she doesn't work out. You're a personal trainer. You have no glutes and you're hip thrusting all that weight. But it's like, you have no idea where I came from. I was super overweight. I have Hashimoto's, a thyroid condition, which makes it hard for me to lose weight. Like, I'm very proud of where I am right now. So I know that stuff's not true, but it does get to you. Like, especially it's a lot of people, they just like want to hurt you. So in the beginning it was really hard. I almost had to like turn off my comments. But it happens every day now. I have like 10 comments. So it's kind of just like whatever at this point.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
it's rough.
I feel like it's part of the game. I feel like it's definitely more that way with women on social media than it is with men. But even like we had someone like trash like our forum posts, you know, we made about like delt flies a few weeks ago. It's like, what are you accomplishing here? Like, what's the purpose? But there's always gonna be people out there like that. Yeah, and
they all say like, because I'm really tall and I have like really long legs or really short torso, so I can't squat upright. And every time I post my squats, like I'm pretty upright too compared to most people with long femurs. But they're like, you're gonna be injured. Goodbye to your discs, all this stuff. And then you ask them, you're like, can you cite the source, please? And then they're like, I'm a personal trainer. I'm like, that's not a source, though. So it's just people who want to prove that they're smarter than you, too. It's interesting.
It's super tough. Talk to me a little bit about what you've learned as an entrepreneur, doing your own thing. How long have you been coaching on your own now?
So I've had my one-on-one coaching and my 6-week programs for almost 2 years. I started my monthly subscription when I quit working for that other program in January. So that's still pretty new. I think we're going on to our 6th month this month.
Talk to me a little bit about doing things on your own. What's that like? What was the learning curve like for you? Where do you feel like you can still improve? Talk me through a little bit about that.
I think in the beginning, I thought, with this many Instagram followers, I can get so many clients. And it's really not like that. Like, you have to constantly talk about it, sell it, market it. It's not like you just have the link on your page and all these people sign up. So that's been something, because I didn't really know much about marketing. That's been a learning curve for me to keep talking about it, because you also don't want to sound salesy or like, buy my program on everything. So there's been like a fine line between that and learning that. I am glad I started just with my one-on-one clients, because I've learned a lot from that and made like personal connections with them. Programming has been like easier for me to do on a smaller scale with them. I have like 15 one-on-one clients. So that was like a good intro for me into like a bigger online training platform. So start slow. Like I had all these dreams for my program. I wanted to have monthly. I wanted to sell programs. I like pick one and start with that, like a smaller scale, and then start scaling it as it grows. But definitely the marketing has been the toughest learning curve for me.
Yeah, I think it is a common misconception that just because you have a following, not you in particular, but just people, right? Or you're famous or this or that, oh yeah, you throw the link up, the swipe up, and boom, 10 clients. Like
everyone, yeah.
I mean, coaching in itself, so a big following is really good at selling like a water bottle, like a product that's $20. It's an impulse buy. It's it's done. But coaching's a service. It's usually a little pricier. It's a subscription. Yeah. There's some barriers there, and so it is a lot harder to sell that. Now, when someone reaches out to you, what is your process like? Do you hop on a call, discuss? Like, what does the sales process look like for you?
So if they're interested in my one-on-one, I have the Calendly app, so they can book a consultation with me, and I do a FaceTime call with them or on WhatsApp. Get to know them, do like a whole introduction, get to know their goals, and then say they don't really have a specific need for one-on-one programming or coaching, they just want something to follow, then I'll tell them to go on to my other one. My monthly subscription, but most of the time I do the FaceTime with all of my one-on-one clients. Yeah. But I try to keep it as personal as I can with even all of my monthly subscription clients, because I've had a lot of coaches and I've kind of learned like what I like and what I don't like. And the communication is a huge part with online coaching. If you're not like talking to your coach and getting to know them, you feel like really removed from them. So I try to be like super present even with my online girls. I talk to them all the time. Some of them like will message me. They have any questions. I try to just like stay involved as much as I can with everyone, because I think that's like a huge part of coaching. Yeah,
you need to have that connection. I think it's a delicate balance too. Like I think about when I started, so at my peak, I had 68 online one-on-one clients.
Oh my gosh.
One-on-one. And mind you, and if people listen to this, like they'll know if they were my client, and this was like 2000, I think 18, 19, I had was that peak. The quality wasn't as good as it needed to be. Like I was selling my soul because I was like, I need to do this to build this gym. I mean, I was running the gym. I was going to school still, all that stuff. Wow. But I was having clients like text me, and it's like I had nothing left for me, right? Yeah. I was just pulled in so there's that delicate balance between giving yourself to them and like having those connections, but also protecting your energy. I think is really important. Something that I know like my team has struggled with at SoCal is like I've always told them from the get-go, we need to be professional. I don't expect you guys to be texting clients at 12 a.m. or responding to client videos ASAP. Like we have True Coach as our platform. And we've had trouble with clients sending videos on Instagram or texting, be like, hey, I'm about to hit my top set. What should I hit? It's like, that's not the agreement,
That's not what that comes with.
And what's tough is, we have a lot of, especially like younger clientele that they don't get that instant gratification from their coach immediately to what RPE was this and what should I go up. But then some coach online who's on their phone 24/7, they'll sign up with them and get that experience. But that coach is going to burn out and be gone in a year or two.
So fast. Yeah.
And so it's just stay true, stay true to your process and stay structured. And that's what I had to do, I know in the beginning for me. And that's just what I've taught my team as well. And I think that's what works for long-term sustainability for all my coaches, right?
100%. I did the same thing when I first started. I would text them back right away because I give all my one-on-one clients have my cell phone number, and we do like a weekly check-in through just a phone call. But I was on my phone checking it like the second they would send it to me. So now I have set hours for everything. I let all of my like form checks build up for the day, and at night I go through them all at one certain time, so I'm not constantly checking my phone. I have business hours up on my online programming, so I have a specific hour that I'm on every day just to keep it like you said, so you're not like constantly at someone's
beck and call.
Yeah. Yeah,
discipline equals freedom, and that's like a Jocko Willink thing, but it is true. And the more structure we put around it, the more free we feel. Like if I were to go back, I would do probably a Discord group or a Slack channel for my clients. Like because the other thing, and I'm sure you feel this or may feel this in the future, it's like you need a layer of separation. So if it's work related, if it's like your friends are texting you and you have a bunch of texts from clients at the same time, it's like it's super overwhelming just to look at your phone. Like I get overwhelmed if I have one unread text message.
I know.
Whereas some people, I have a friend who has like 150 unread text messages and he's like chilling. I'm like, that's anxiety. Yeah. So I like the layer of separation, or like using WhatsApp, for coaching, whatever it is. So I think that's a good one. If there's an online coach listening to this, for sure, adding some layers of separation, some structure around the time in which you're responding. I like to tell people this from a business, from a scalability standpoint. If you can't do what you're doing right now, if you had 10x the amount of people you're working with, you need to change it, right? Because at the same time, like you said, you have 15 one-on-ones. Like having 150 is not obviously realistic, but we also
I would have to change a lot of things.
Yeah.
Phone calls, the 10-minute phone calls we do on Sundays. I couldn't do that with everyone.
No, it would be a lot of. It'd be a lot of time on the phone, 1,500 minutes. Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people who do have a bigger scale, they'll just record, like going over the person's program takes them like 2 minutes and then
That's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's my plan if I scale it more. Right now, I haven't, I kind of have a wait list, or I'm not taking on anyone new right now because of my time, but I'll have to figure out how to scale it better so I have the time.
Talk to me about balancing entrepreneurship with being a single mom.
I'm very thankful for it because my parents, I'm very close with them, but they both work full time. So I don't have anyone to watch my son. His dad's out of state. So, and his other grandparents are out of state. So I really don't have anyone to help me. So thankfully, I can do it all from home. That's kind of why I decided to switch over to online training too. So it's been nice that I can still pick my son up from school, take him to school, work during the hours that he's at school. I coach at a gym in Newport, so I do all my clients then, get my workout in, pick them up, and then I do all my online stuff from home. But it's been a struggle. It's hard. I can't make a lot of school activities. I can't really volunteer in the classes because I have work, but I'm really grateful that I've been able to push a lot the past few years and make it happen to support my son and still be home with them.
What was that like too, just like the transition period from hair to training and things like that? How did that shift to in regards to being a single mom and having everything going on? I mean, was it like a big relief? Was it scary?
100%, yeah. And it was right when COVID hit, so everyone was home anyways. So it was nice to be able to have a job from home. And so that transition was super easy. And I was so grateful for that happening at that certain time. It was meant to be. But it's been, there's so many ups and downs, and not having a business background and figuring out how to scale my business and all the things that come with owning your own business. It's scary when you have a kid to support and you're the sole parent for them. So it's you have to make sure that money's coming in from somewhere. So I still do my hair clients. I coach at the gym. I do my online stuff. I try to keep as many revenue streams as I can. Just in case.
Has he seen, obviously he has seen your shift from being overweight to being in shape? I mean, what kind of questions does he ask about what you do and all that
He
stuff?
was pretty young, so I don't think he remembers, but I've shown him pictures and he's like, that's not you. I'm like, it is me. I know, I can't believe it either. Yeah. But he loves being in the gym. It's his favorite place to go. I bring him with me to the gym I work at all the time. Yeah. He's not interested in letting me train him yet, and I'm so eager to get him deadlifting and all that, but he loves being around it, and it's been cool to show him that women can be strong, we can have muscle, it's so different, I feel like. now. So it's cool to be able to show him. And he's so supportive of it. He came to my powerlifting meet.
That's awesome.
He was taking videos of me like on his iPad. I saw it. He had it up. So it's cute. It's really cool to like have him see me take care of myself, have a business. Like I said, I feel bad I'm not there all the time at school, but I'm there I show up, I pick him up. I just can't like volunteer and be like,
and in 10 years from now, he'll understand why. You know, I think that's the other thing is when they're young, maybe they don't know, they don't get it, but you're sort of sacrificing the short term for like just keeping your family going.
Keeping it. Yeah, because he says a lot of the time, he's like, you're always on your computer working, and that makes me feel like really guilty. So that's why I also like have a specific time now, and that was a really hard thing when I was working for the other girl, because I had to be on 3 hours at night because they were both on the East Coast time. So I was on from like 7 to 9 or like 6 to 9 sometimes. And that was like our time at home, bedtime, read books. And I couldn't do that with him. So that's been like a huge freedom for me as well, having my own thing.
Absolutely. So what projects are you working on right now? Just expand the one-on-one training? Are you trying to do more group programs? What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to expand my group programming right now. So I have 2 layers to it. One's a little more expensive, but you get coaching from me in a Facebook group. I have a physical therapist working in the group too. So you get a lot more for that one. And then I have a little cheaper one of just programming. So right now I'm in the works of just scaling that, trying to grow everything more. I pick up a few one-on-one clients every month, but then some drop off. So just growing everything. It's been very consistent, which I've been grateful for. I have a lot of one-on-one clients that I've had since I started 2 years ago. But yeah, just growing everything, putting myself out there more.
Do you see yourself ever hiring other coaches?
Eventually, yeah. I'd like to scale it pretty big. And one thing I learned just from like the last program I was in, I as a coach didn't get much like creative space to program or any of that. I more so just did form checks. So for me, I would want to hire coaches that also program and they have a hand in the actual business too, where like the clients can pick from 2 different programs and stuff like that. So if I hire coaches, I want them to be very involved with it. I want them to feel like they're actually a coach too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being on today. I think like you have a great story from obviously going from single mom, hair, all the online coaching, entrepreneurship. Like it's a good journey. And I think there's so many people that want to be online coaches. And the problem is the barrier to entry is pretty low. It's not necessarily a problem, but the issue is people don't then invest in the time, the learning, the knowledge, and staying consistent. Because like you said, even with the Instagram stuff and coaching and all of it, it's all about consistency. And you have to give it the time it deserves for it to even be a little successful. And then
even if you see nothing, you have to keep going for so long for it to return. Yeah, it's tough, but it's so rewarding.
Especially being like a parent, because that's one of the things like being an entrepreneur. I know in the next maybe like 5 to 7 years, like I want to have kids and I want to be as present as possible and be there. And I know luckily I will hopefully be able to do that based on being an entrepreneur and creating my schedule. And whereas I grew up with parents that worked corporate jobs and my mom was president, but dad wasn't very much there.
That's how mine was too. Yeah, it's good. It's nice to be able to do that, but it's scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a huge jump and leap of faith to just be like, I'm starting my own business. You have no idea what's going to happen, especially with no business background.
Yeah, but it's worth it though. So where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Hailey Barragan, and TikTok, Hailey.Barragan. And then my website is just www.haileybarragan.com.
Sweet. We'll check out Hailey.
Yeah, my monthly subscription is called Get Strong.
Okay, that's an easy one.
Yeah, it's easy.
Get Strong trademark, done. Well, cool. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It was fun. Yeah.